Okay, so for part 3, so what we did in the last video was we started step 5, calculating the federal tax. So based on the taxable income of the $69,539.50, using the two different rates, the 15% and the 20.5%, we came up with the amount of federal tax on the taxable income of $11,494.76. So now we need to figure out the federal non-refundable tax credits. So we filled in the basic personal amount, which we talked about. And now over here, the base CPP contributions complete Schedule 8. So we're going to go back down to Schedule 8, which is the CPP. Here we go. So Schedule 8, we filled all this in already. We came to here, and we know that the actual enhanced contribution on CPP pensionable earnings was the $460.50, which we put into the total income for or deducted it for Samuel. And then we calculated the required base contribution. Oh, sorry, we haven't. So the base contribution on the CPP pensionable earnings, you want your $61,400, which is your earnings subject to CPP. Okay. So, and it even tells you amount from line 5. So right there, line 5, you fill that in, you multiply it by your 4.95% for the maximum amount of your $3,039.30. Then it wants the required enhanced contribution. So the amount from line 5 again, multiplied that by the 0.75% for the maximum of the $460.50, okay, which is the amount from the enhanced. Added those together is the total required contributions on your CPP pensionable earnings, which is your $34.99.80, okay, and the $34.99.80 is your maximum, okay, that you can pay. So we have entered the line, entered the amount from line 6, goes here, line 6, $34.99.80. Then here we've got enter the line amount from line 11, which is your $34.99.80. And then line 12 minus line 13. If negative, enter 0. And of course they match, so that's where you put in your 0. So now down here, this is where it tells you what amount from here needs to go where. So enter on line 3800 on your return, whichever is less, the amount from line 7 and line 9, which is your $30.39.30. Okay? And we're going to go find that amount. So we want to go back up here. We were here. So as you can see, the basic CPP, QPP contributions, that is coming from Schedule 8, and it is for line 3800, and it is your $3,039.30. Okay, so that's your CPP. So now here we've got your employment insurance premiums. That comes directly from your T4, $952.74. $952.74. The Canadian employment amount, enter whichever is less, either $1,287 or line 1 plus line 2. So line 1 plus line 2. Line 2 is blank. Line 1 is your 70,000. So scroll back down. Hopefully this isn't making you dizzy. Okay, so since it's 70,000, the amount that's less is definitely the 1287. Okay, this is a line that for some reason continuously gets missed for students or from students handing in assignments. So please always put in the Canada employment amount. Okay, so then there's nothing else that needs to be added in. So this is where we add lines 83 to 93. So the CPP amount straight through, and it gives us $5,279.04. We carry that over. Pension income amount, we have no pension income, so we know that nothing goes on line 95. So now it's saying add 82, 94, and 95. So we have 82, which is your 14,398, and the 14,398 came from your basic personal exemption, or your basic personal amount. That added with the 5279.04 gives us 19,677.04. We don't have a disability amount. We don't have a disability amount transferred from a dependent. So the 19,677.04 gets carried down. Here, if you had interest paid on your student loans, we'd put in the amount. If we had tuition, we'd put in an amount. Tuition transferred from a child or grandchild, we'd have an amount. Amounts transferred from a spouse or common law partner, we'd have an amount. We will get into this in a couple of weeks, where you will learn how to figure out the tuition amount. So again, there weren't any additions. So we have the 19,677.04. We continue looking. We don't have any medical, so everything is fine. We again bring down the 19,677.04. So now, in order to figure out the non-refundable tax credit amount, we have to multiply it by the tax rate. And if you notice, it's the 15%. And that comes directly from this 15% here, which is the lowest tax percentage that we are charged on our income. So the non-refundable tax credits are calculated at the 15%, the lowest rate. So that multiplied out gives us the 2951.56. And again, we don't have any donations or gifts, but if we did, we'd fill out Schedule 9 and put them on this line, and then add that to the 2951.56. And the 2951.56 is the total federal non-refundable tax credits. So that's going to go forward to reducing the amount of tax federally that we have to pay. Okay, so now we're looking at Part C, the net federal tax. So the first thing we put on line 7, and here is on line 116 is the amount from line 73. So we go up. Where's line 73? That is in the matrix where we calculated the tax amount. So it's this here. If you see line 73, the 11,494.76. So we need to fill that in down here. The 11,494.76. We don't have to split income, that's blank, so we carry down the 11,494.76. Then here, the amount from line 35,000. That is the total federal non-refundable tax credit that we just calculated on the previous page. We carry that down. We carry it down and bring it over to line 122. And then we subtract that. So we've got the amount that it's saying that we owe for taxes on our taxable income, which is the 11,494.76. Then we have to subtract the non-refundable tax credits, which is your 2951.56, and then that gives you the basic federal tax amount that you owe, okay, which is your 8543.20. We don't have anything else that we need to fill in here. We don't have any investment tax credits. We don't have any foreign tax credits. So the federal tax that is owed is your 8543.80. Net federal tax, and now that is carried forward into step 6, your refund, where you're going to calculate your refund or balance owing. And the first thing we're doing in this section is carrying down the amount from line 42,000, which is your net federal tax. Okay, so we fill that into line 140, your 8543.20. Okay, so if we were self-employed or if we owed any CPP, we'd fill it in on this line. If we owed any premiums for EI, we'd fill it in on this line. If we had any social benefits that we had to repay, it would be put on this line. The next line, as you can see, is the provincial or territorial tax. So this is where I've got it filled in here already, but this is where we need to go to the provincial form and start filling that out. So it's going to be very similar to this federal form, where it's going to start off with having to fill out this matrix to figure out what your federal tax or your provincial tax is on your taxable income. Okay, so I will stop this video here, and then I will create another one, and that is where we are going to figure out this provincial amount for line 144.